fabulous atmosphere at Croke Park in the build-up to this senior final between Limerick and Offaly. We've been lucky enough here at Croke Park in the last couple of years to see new teams emerging and new pairings emerging. Well, this is a unique pairing because Limerick have never met Offaly before in the All-Ireland senior final, and because of that, a great sense of expectation about this afternoon's match. Also, happily enough, the weather, as you can see, has cleared up very, very nicely for the game. There was a great threat of rain earlier on. Well, hopefully that has been dispelled now, and it looks like a good sunny afternoon. Although, as you can see from the flags there's also a little bit of a breeze. Well, there's a young man who was really looking forward to today's game, Michael Kidney from Tullamore. He is one of Offaly's greatest supporters ever. Michael is here today with the Share a Dream Foundation, and I was talking to him a little bit earlier on, and I can tell you he is very much looking forward to the match, and he's nearly as nervous as any of the players taking part. So the Artane boys band down the middle of the field with the array of flags, of course, and adding, as ever, to the great colour and the great spectacle here. Fabulous build-up of noise, by the way, here at Croke Park today, as the Offaly and Limerick supporters on opposite sides of the grounds have been trying to out-cheer each other and out-noise each other in terms of hooters, blowers, etc. At this point also, we would like to welcome viewers in Australia who are watching us on SBS. You're very welcome indeed, and I hope that you enjoyed this great occasion in Irish hurling, Limerick versus Offaly. And on that note, let's also say hello to Marty Morrissey, who is down at pitch side at the moment with the latest news for us.
Indeed, Michael, and indeed both dressing rooms, you could say, are quite tense, but in comparison to other All-Ireland finalists, both teams are rather relaxed. Limerick, of course, were first to tug out. Some players were there in the dressing room, decided to tug out, and then thought it was a little bit too early when they looked at their watches, so they put on their clothes again. Offaly are the boys who are getting all the massages from Patsy Carroll, the Offaly team masseuse. Joe Dooley, Dahi Regan were on the table, but now they're fully fit, there's no problems whatsoever. Offaly very casual, I must say, but surprisingly in the last few minutes a little bit tense. They're very concerned as well about the weather, and I can assure you that the wind has increased in velocity in the last few minutes. Certainly when I was here last it was fairly breezy, but now it's a very strong breeze blowing from the canal end down. But both teams very tense but eager to set out the voyage to bring home the Liam McCarthy Cup.
A stiff wind, never something that we want to see in a big hurling match, of course, but I think in fairness we would settle for a bit of breeze today rather than some of the rain, and the heavy rain at that has been threatened upon us. TJ Carey, of course, for you this is a very different view of the All-Ireland final this year, because for the last 3 years you've been down there, you've been in the dressing room minutes before the big off yourself, and I'm sure the nerves building up.
It would, Michael, and I can assure you I'd prefer to be down there today than I would here, but unfortunately for us, Offaly beat us and they're there today. I just noticed, listening to Marty there about the players tugging off. That can happen. I mean, there's another 40 minutes or so left to the throw-in. The players are in the dressing room an hour beforehand. They're starting to think, nerves are building up, they want to get out on the field, and it doesn't help to be in there so early. Now you need to be, because some players may have injuries, more players may just want to rub down from the masseur, so the nerves are building up in there.
Reputation has it, however, DJ, that it was never something to over-trouble Kilkenny, because Kilkenny have always had a reputation of being very sort of, I won't say lackadaisical, but sort of easygoing about arriving at Croke Park and, almost to the last minute and so forth. Would that be a true comment?
Well, I don't know about that. If we come up for the last 3 years, we came up the Sunday morning of the match, and I can assure you the nerves would be building up on the train, because there's a big build-up coming up there. I could never take it as being relaxed anyway.
Well, Pete, you've gone through this occasion yourself on 6 different occasions in the All-Ireland final.
Yeah, I have. It's different for us. We would come up on the Saturday night beforehand, and we have more time to kill and more time to hang around, and it's probably the worst time of all once you leave home. And to get you sleeping in different beds and supporters coming in out of the hotel and things like that, it's very hard to cope with. But what the players are probably going through is mental thought now at the moment between themselves, trying to get themselves prepared properly for the game. And as DJ said, it can happen that you can spend too long in the dressing room as well. You want to get out there, but when they come out then they have the cosmetics as well, meeting the president and marching behind the band, and they have to hold their trail of thought for that length of time themselves.
Okay, Pete, thank you for your thoughts for the moment, and DJ Carey as well. So, a special day then for the supporters of Limerick and Offaly. It's been a special day for the miners of Galway. Already they have won their All-Ireland, but of course on these occasions it's a very special day for another group of people, because we go back 25 years to the Jubilee team who are being honoured here today. The Jubilee team of 25 years ago, 1969. Of course, it was the Kilkenny hurling team who won the All-Ireland on that occasion, and they are about to be introduced to the crowd. Final between Limerick and Offaly. Well, that's an issue that will be decided, of course, later on and announced on the Sunday game. And there's a reminder of the trophy, a magnificent piece of Waterford crystal glass. Now, if it's a draw in the match today, that trophy will be held over for the replay. Don't forget also, of course, that the man of the match will also receive a gold watch. And here comes on Taoiseach, Albert Reynolds, and he's being officially introduced to the crowd. So the head of the Irish government, Taoiseach Albert Reynolds, takes his place in the stand for this afternoon's big final. And an Ort Stewart of Common Lutlas Scale, Liam Mulvihill, is there with them as well. Now, we've mentioned earlier on in the programme the new Cusack stand, of course, which is partly open for this great occasion. Here's Ger Canning with more on that.
Yes, indeed, it's taking shape the whole time. The constructors, Sisks from Cork, are the main contractors. Of course, there are a number of subcontractors as well, and they have done tremendous work over the last 8 months or so. They had 10,000 seats available for the Leinster final ahead of the programme, 13,000 for the semi-final matches in August, and 15,000 seats available for the final itself. The workforce of 250 people have been busy constructing it. The erection of the roof, the steel roof, starts the day after the football final. The roof is a cantilever structure, 40 metres long, and it'll be the second longest cantilever stadium roof in Europe after St James's Park in Newcastle. And you can just see in the upper tier there, as it is right now, the premium seating. And today it's been opened for the first time. The seats on offer at £35 a seat, but that includes a buffet lunch as well. A wonderful place to watch a match, and everybody keeping their fingers crossed, of course, that the blue sky will be maintained up there and that there won't be quite that much grey around, because you are out in the open, and should the rain come down, well, it wouldn't be the nicest place to be. So fingers crossed that we'll have a nice dry afternoon right through until about 5 o'clock at least, and that everybody here will enjoy this wonderful occasion.
Anyone that I've spoken to, Ger, who is sat in the new Cusack stand for some of the matches here this summer at Croke Park, have been totally impressed with the fabulous view that there is. Of course, there are no obstructions in their way, no pillars, as I'm afraid there were on the old Cusack stand, to obstruct the view there. They're a little bit further back from the field until the pitch is realigned, which it will be in a couple of years' time, more towards the new Cusack, but there was no complaints whatsoever from that point of view from them. I think just delighted to get such a beautiful view, lovely comfortable seating over there as well. When this project is finished, it is certainly going to be a credit to the GAA. The new Cusack stand, partly erected here, and the top tier, of course, to go on over the next 12 months or so in what is going to be a fabulous facility. But now, in just a little bit over a minute's time, the teams are due to come out here onto the pitch at Croke Park. Offaly are due out first. They're due out at 12 minutes past 3. It's coming up very close to that right now, and there's a great buzz of anticipation around Croke Park, obviously, from their supporters as they wait for the two teams to arrive. Let's go down again to Marty Morrissey.
Well, Michael, a most unusual occurrence just happened in the Limerick dressing room when Garrett Howard, who won All-Ireland medals in 1921, 34 and 36, and now unfortunately is wheelchair bound, was wheeled into the Limerick dressing room, gave a few words of encouragement and wished them the best of luck. His daughter Liz Howard, of course, is the well-known Tipperary PRO. It was a rather emotional moment in the Limerick dressing room, and Limerick players themselves very much appreciated meeting Garrett Howard.
Well, Garrett was sick, Marty, recently. He had been hospitalised for a little while. I'm glad to see that he's out and enjoying this great occasion as the Offaly team come out onto the field.
Yes, it's a wonderful occasion for Offaly, back in the final for the first time in 9 years. And after a season that promised more than it delivered in terms of high-quality matches, with the outcome in doubt right down to the final minutes, let's hope that the hurling today, on hurling's biggest day of the year, will be rewarded with an engrossing contest. And so Offaly with their team captain Martin Hannamy in there among that group. Joe Dooley there, Jim Troy a little bit nervous. There's Martin Hannamy to his left, John Troy and Billy Dooley. The Dooleys from Clareen, tiny little village in South Offaly. Johnny Pilkington there, one of the great characters. Kevin Kinahan, the fullback. Kevin Martin, the only Tullamore player ever to play in an All-Ireland hurling final in the colours of Offaly. There's Brian Wheelahan. So the subs move off, leaving the 15 to be photographed. These photographs that will be adorning quite a few walls and mantelpieces and so on, I'm sure, in the years to come, if they win the Liam McCarthy Cup for the third time, 1981 and 1985. They have a 100% record of playing in finals here at Croke Park. Their one loss, of course, was in the 84 centenary final to Cork, but that was played in Semple Stadium in Thurles. Martin Hannamy having a wonderful season so far, today playing in his 17th championship match. First played in the championship in 1987. And let's take a check on the Offaly team. In Offaly's case, the same 15 that took the field against Galway are given a vote of confidence. Brendan Kelly, concussed and substituted 4 weeks ago, is in once again at full forward, while the real debate behind the scenes was the question of who would get the left corner forward berth, and to a lesser extent the full forward slot. And there were 4 lively contenders here, but along with Brendan Kelly, Damien Pilkington is the one selected to join Billy Dooley in the inside forward line. And here come Limerick. A deafening ovation as the Shannonsiders race out quite literally onto Croke Park. Damien Quigley, one of the last ones out there. 14 years they've waited. Gary Kirby, the team captain. Well, I think on the decibel level, Limerick just about shading it. They've got the Canal End terrace here. Fans packed in there tightly. Everybody wanted to get to see this. Frankie Carroll, the player on the left-hand side, and Gary Kirby here, nephew, of course, of the Bennisses, who were stars in 1973 in that memorable final as Limerick won the Liam McCarthy for the first time in 33 years that day. And so they come across to have the photographs taken. Mike Galligan in a bit of a race across here on the left-hand side. Steve McDonough, the player who's on the bench already. Limerick's 14th time to play in the final. And that last in 1980 when Galway won a compelling tussle by just 3 points. And there's Mike Galligan, who was married just a week ago. There was the doubt, of course, about the bone that he broke in the hand. And also he sustained a back injury. That's Joe O'Connor there from Ballybrown. Kieran Carey, Joe Quaid, and Mike Galligan. And so right along here, Damien Quigley alongside Steve McDonough. Mike Houlihan there just second from the left alongside TJ Ryan. And there's Pat Heffernan, school teacher. Indeed, his boss is in the Limerick subs. That's Brian Finn. So they may not be at school for a couple of days after this, depending upon the result, of course. And so Gary Kirby and his side come down towards the Limerick fans on the Canal End in this unique final pairing, the 106th All-Ireland hurling final. And this is how Limerick will line out today. The biggest scare story, of course, from their point of view is the hand injury and that back injury I mentioned of Mike Galligan. However, he's been past fit to play, while back into the fray comes full forward Pat Heffernan as the Shannon Siders revert to the side that won the Munster Championship. Leo O'Connor is the unlucky one to lose out today. Goalkeeper Joe Quaid had been hampered by a throat virus, but in the event he starts his 5th championship match behind the usual defence. Significant that the rival selection committees follow the same line, basically opting for basic continuity rather than wholesale change. So a wonderfully colourful occasion. Taoiseach Albert Reynolds there in consultation with Sean Dignan. Bertie Ahern just to his left as we watch it. So that the Ord Corley section. And across there you see Jerry Bennis, the county chairman, standing just in front of the substitutes. And Dave Mahidi running onto the field here, the team trainer. Eamon Cregan, perhaps the man of the moment here, who won, of course, an All-Ireland medal in 1973. And he's sporting a green jersey, very diplomatic indeed. He was trying to be calmness personified down in the dressing room area. He was telling me that they actually arrived about 15 minutes ahead of his scheduled time. Andy Gallagher here as well, from Tullamore, long time associated with Offaly teams in major occasions. And Eamon will have noted that Offaly are in their lucky dressing room here at Croke Park, because the dressing room just to the left-hand side as you enter it from the field is their lucky one. They were in there in 1981 when they won it, and there again in 1985. Tom Ryan from Ballybrown and Limerick, first year in charge of the side. Rory Kiley alongside him there, and Rory has been a bit of a good luck charm over the years with Limerick teams. And the other selected there, of course, as well, Liam Lenihan. This panoramic view now of Croke Park, the old and the new as it were. The Hogan stand away on the far side. We're looking at from the corner of the new stand, and the Artane Boys band just down there, assembling, waiting for the arrival of the President of Ireland. And Limerick, in terms of colour and splashes of colour, well, they may just be shading it ever so slightly. When you've waited so long to get here, well, my goodness me. And the lucky ones to have managed to get the tickets, they've been so hard to come by. And I'm sure they'll be every bit as scarce for the football decider. And Dublin and Down fans might be interested in the draw that's organised by the Cork County Board. They've got, I think, it's 100 stand tickets and 100 terrace tickets on offer for a fortnight's time. And the monies raised from that will be going back into the game at a youth level. So it might be well worth supporting. So that's this splendid scene. John 3-7, Offaly 4-8. Little biblical touch at the outset here. Indeed, at the start of the year here, who would have predicted an Offaly-Limerick final? Both counties, of course, went out in the first round of the championship last year. Admittedly, in Offaly's case, it was over a hotly debated refereeing decision, and to the eventual champions Kilkenny. So the teams now lining up to be introduced to the President of Ireland. Mary Robinson about to arrive here. So shot going Oakter on the Hearn, Sean Boothman, Inena Clay. So now Jack Boothman will accompany the President to meet first of all the Offaly team, and they'll be introduced by Martin Hannamy. For many people, I suppose today's finalists have been emerging talent over the past 8 to 10 years, although that's not entirely accurate. The Limerick team that won the centenary year minor final after a replay never quite made it as a unit at senior level, and only Ger Hegarty and Gary Kirby of today's team faced Kilkenny 10 years ago with Declan Nash among the subs, while Offaly people have been waiting for these young fellas to come through, great minor teams of the 80s. And they talk fondly of in the Midlands, of the great work done by the Presentation brothers in fostering the game. Brian Whelan was mentioning to me brother Vincent, who's now down in Cork. He did some great coaching at schools level. Billy Dooley there, learned his hurling in Bar as well. Indeed, they talk fondly about the brothers bringing them in at 8 o'clock in the morning to organise training sessions way above and beyond the call of duty. But that nurturing has come through. And John MacDonald, we've got Willie Barrett, of course, our match referee from Ardfinnan, Dickie Murphy from Wexford, and now Gary Kirby having a couple focal with Oakler on the head, and Joe Quaid. Mike Nash here, who played in the championship for the first time back around 1989 against Kerry, came on briefly, and he's come back with a vengeance this year. His brother Declan there, a great day for brothers, 4 sets of brothers involved, 3 in the case of the Dooleys. And so it's all set for a wonderful occasion, a uniquely Irish occasion.
Yes, certainly, Ger, all set for that. And so in a moment the teams will go to the parade. The president will take her place in the stand for this afternoon's match. We'll take a brief commercial break. We'll be back with the All-Ireland final directly after that. Gary Kirby then leads his team around for the 1994 All-Ireland final. The scene is set for the first ever meeting of Limerick and Offaly in the senior final. Let's join our big match commentator for the occasion, Ger Canning.
Yes, and it's Limerick who won the toss, and they're going to play from right to left in the first half, and they'll be wind supported. The breeze is blowing down towards the goal at the railway end. We noticed there in the parade there, it may not be all that terribly significant, but Offaly were very, very focused, looking ahead the whole time, as though they had a target in mind, a goal to aim at, whereas Limerick were inclined to look around and enjoy the whole thing. Maybe they're that bit more relaxed, not quite sure. Once again, a check on the Offaly team with some great brothers, of course, involved. The Troys, also, of course, the Pilkingtons and the 3 Dooleys. Like an ish out on the field. The atmosphere is absolutely wonderful at Croke Park. We await the 106th final. The combined Artane boys, the boys band and the senior band, that's the trophy they're playing for. The first team ever to win it was Limerick. They won it 7 times in all. Well, 1 or 2 of those victories were in the days before the McCarthy Cup itself was up for the big prize. But that's what they're all playing for this afternoon. Check on the Limerick team. The doubt, of course, about Mike Galligan is cleared up. Pat Heffernan takes back the full forward position, so it's basically their Munster final team. Willie Barrett, who's handled some very big matches over the last few years, very good referee. He's in charge, assisted by Dickie Murphy and John MacDonald. And this, the panoramic view of Croke Park at the start of the final between Offaly and Limerick. And straight away it's Kieran Carey. He could be a major factor in this game if he gets motoring early on. Down towards Heffernan. Kevin Kinahan, who's had a great season, winning that first ball. Heffernan may well opt to try and pull him out of position as much as possible. Shane McGuckin now, the veterinary surgeon based in Gorey, towards Johnny Pilkington. It'll be Pilkington against Kieran Carey, and the strong men in the middle. Mention of strength. Here's Ger Hegarty. Released outside towards Frankie Carroll, just a little hint of nervousness. Kevin Martin going across to Mark. Ger Hegarty now firmly out of position. It's Gary Kirby who picks it up. First time to get on the ball. Should be quite a tussle with Hubert Rigney. Mention of Hubert, here he is. Comes straight to Mike Houlihan. Going for the score. Great point. Well, he started in devastating fashion against Antrim as well. And so Limerick off the mark straight away. Jim Troy today playing in his 23rd championship match. Ger Hegarty under the dropping ball, batting it down, keeping it away from John Troy. Really fired up for the occasion, making sure he wasn't tooked on his left-hand side. And that's when the inside forward line would have preferred a much better supply of the ball than that. Did well to come back from a career-threatening cruciate ligament injury back in October 1992. That's the championship campaign last year. Jim Troy today seeking a third senior medal. He was deputy to Damien Martin in 1981. Mike Houlihan touches it away towards Frankie Carroll, star of the Limerick team against Antrim, but then in their half-forward line they've had a different star every day. Gary Kirby was very much the star against Cork. Gary playing in his 18th championship match. Offaly get the sideline cut, and it's going to be Kevin Martin who'll come up to take this one. Driven towards John Troy, added to it well. Joe O'Connor slightly off balance. Oh, it's a penalty, it is a penalty. Damien Pilkington, I think the player who was coming in that time. Steve McDonough going across. Here it is again. This is Damien Pilkington on his way, and that's where the penalty was called for. So 3 men on the goal line. First scoring chance then for Johnny Dooley. Well, Johnny Dooley has been in great scoring form. 22 points so far in the championship. Going for the goal, comes off the foot of Joe, and it's in! Joe Dooley, after 3.5 minutes. Joe following up very quickly indeed. Watch as the other Joe Quaid, got a foot to this. A free taken by Johnny Dooley, and his older brother was in quickly. Great alert play by the Offaly forwards. Gary Kirby, but the referee has whistled. It's got to be a free in for Limerick. So you see in the top left-hand corner the points tally the whole time, and the goal being 3 points in hurling and in football, and Joe Dooley the goal scorer. So the Limerick captain going for the point, making the score, his first of the afternoon, first chance as well. So the game now settling down nicely. Declan Nash. Mike Houlihan missed it. Kieran Carey trying to follow on. Johnny Pilkington. Stalemate situation. Finally broken up there by Mike Houlihan. Now Hubert Rigney. Very stylish performer on his left-hand side. Driven in well. And Joe Quaid called on to make the save. Defiantly knocked back well over midfield in towards the half forwards. Damien Quigley coming out for it. Taking it neatly up onto the stick, getting away from the three Offaly men there. Quigley bearing down on goal. He has support. It's a goal! From Joe Quaid's lengthy puck down to Damien Quigley, and he beats Jim Troy, all ends up. Well, I mentioned he had support because TJ Ryan was away on the left, on the right-hand side as he was watching it, but he didn't need him. Great goal. And I think Jim Troy will be a little concerned that he might have got a stick on that one. So 2 goals then in the space of 2 minutes. Frankie Carroll starting well. It'll be very important for Limerick that their half-forward line should play well this afternoon. Hubert Rigney trying to deny them, and Kevin Martin. That went through the legs there of Kieran Carey. Runs on to Johnny Dooley, the youngest of the three Dooleys playing here. Towards Brendan Kelly. More than prepared to take Mike Nash out of position. Billy Dooley, and that's gone away to the left. First wide of the match from an Offaly point of view. Normally so sharp. And Jim Troy here was well beaten. Gary Kirby supplying the ball towards Mike Galligan. That should be quite a tussle between Galligan and Brian Whelan. Once again, Quigley gets away, and this time it's gone just to the left. Can't have been much in it. Limerick second wide. But it's Limerick who lead by 2 points. Ger Hegarty combining there with Declan Nash. Belting it away once again, this time towards TJ Ryan. Pat Heffernan coming out as well. Out on the 45-metre line. Knocked in towards Frankie Carroll, who'd moved on inside. Handles with some difficulty. And that went off Kevin Martin. He's gone for a 65. Frankie really had a storming match in the Antrim game, but he was given a lot of latitude. And that's something which Kevin Martin will be making sure he doesn't enjoy this afternoon. Some spectators across at the far side enjoying the sunshine as well as the hurling. Thankfully it stayed very dry. And that's just gone to the right, and it's gone wide. Jim Troy deciding to put on the baseball cap to repel the sunshine. Daithí Regan under this one once again, trying to get it forward. Options opening up ahead of him. Nicely forward, and that's a point. Joe Dooley, the point scorer, to add to the goal he got in the 3rd minute. So Offaly's first point to go with the goal. Joe Quaid there was trying to influence the umpire that had gone just outside. Daithí Regan, sun in the eyes. Gary Kirby keeping it moving inside. TJ Ryan, partly blocked down, comes out to Gary Kirby again. And again it's gone to the left. That's 4 wides now for Limerick. And they're having the chance, and of course they have a breeze at their backs in the first half. Doesn't appear to be as strong a breeze as it was earlier on in the afternoon, however. Kieran Carey just doing enough, and then losing out to Johnny Pilkington, surrounded by Limerick players, one of them Ger Hegarty. Straight to the man he should be marking, John Troy. Man outside, Johnny Pilkington. And again going to the left. Some inaccurate finishing now from each team. Brian Whelan misses that one. Runs on towards Damien Quigley. Mike Galligan trying to pick it up, supported here by Gary Kirby, trying to squeeze this one inside, but no such luck. Substantial number of wides now for Limerick. At the other end of the field, it's Mike Nash who is marking Brendan Kelly. Hoping to see more of the ball as well. Joe Dooley, inside towards John Troy, up into the corner towards Declan Pilkington. Doing well, getting away from Steve McDonough. Still Declan Pilkington. Referee allowing an advantage, comes back out towards Brendan Kelly, and further back out again towards Billy Dooley. The snapshot and the point by Billy Dooley. So the teams level for the first time in this match. Gary Kirby watching it all the way, seeing it sailing over his head. Damien Quigley was coming out for it, but it's with Dáithí Regan towards Joe Dooley. Dooley doing well so far against Dave Clark. Clark had been very much the Limerick star in the campaign so far. Here he is now. Doing well to get away from any would-be hoop by Dáithí Regan. And he's put it wide as well. They really are missing a lot of pretty simple chances. That's Declan Nash beaten for it. It's Johnny Dooley. He's got support outside from John Troy. And the referee deciding that it's going to be a Limerick free. John Troy dropping the hurley. And the free to Limerick. Joe Quaid had a quick little practice there, rolling this one up. Replaced his cousin, of course, in goal for Limerick, Tommy Quaid. Hubert Rigney watching it in there. Frankie Carroll taking it up. Good skill. Trying to fire over a point, miss-hitting. Back it in it comes. Shane McGuckin watching there as Johnny Pilkington hits that one off the referee, Willie Barrett, and he will throw the ball in. So after just about 13.5 minutes play, we're hoping that the two teams can settle down a bit more. They've looked a bit nervous. Kieran Carey, and that time fouled by Hubert Rigney. And a fair side-to-side charge as the rulebook decrees it. And so Limerick have the chance to edge in front. This is the incident here as Hubert Rigney was shoulder into the middle of Kieran Carey. Gary Kirby, scorer of a point already in the game, and there's a second, and Limerick are in front. So 1-3 to 1-2. Joe Dooley going across there to try and keep that ball in play. Defended by Dave Clark. Clark doing well. Gaining in confidence. On to Kieran Carey. Trying to fire in a point from way out the field. Just to the left, and that's Limerick's 7th wide. And only a quarter of an hour gone in the first half. Well, the Limerick bench, I think, will be anxious about the many misses, but at the same time happy that they are creating chances. Ger Hegarty. Declan Pilkington laying it on the line there towards Dáithí Regan to Joe Dooley. Defended by a combination of players. That's going away to the right of the goal, left as we look at it. Well, the breeze is obviously a factor. It's a little blustery out there this afternoon. Eamon Cregan in the background there. One of the great coaches in modern day hurling. Difficult situation for him, but he has a job to do and he's doing it well. Gary Kirby trying to handle. Breaks down towards Mike Gallagher and Frankie Carroll. It's with Carroll. Outside to Kieran Carey. That looks a good deal better. And the Patrick's well man gets his first point of the day, and Limerick lead by 2. This is where Frankie Carroll set it up very neatly indeed for the centre field player on his left-hand side, confidently executed, and a very good point. Dáithí Regan trying to handle without the stick now. Frankie Carroll on towards Ciarán Carey. Trying to take it by Hubert Rigney. Kevin Martin nipping in. Runs back to Gary Kirby. Beating Hubert Rigney to it. Good ball inside, defended well by Kevin Kinahan. The revelation he's been this year. And Brian Whelan clearing his lines. Down towards Johnny Dooley. John Troy taking it down. Taking it round to Hegarty. But not quite notching the point. It was a good move. Started back in their own back line. But Limerick continued to lead, as you see, by those 2 points. Joe Quaid getting very good distance into it, into the half-forward line. Anticipating was Dáithí Regan. Runs on towards John Troy. Billy Dooley was coming near side for it. Joe O'Connor, the defender, back now to Billy Dooley. Going for the pot shot. And does it squeeze inside? It does, just sufficiently. And Billy has his second point of the match. And the lead is cut back to just a solitary point. John Troy doing well. Standing his ground there against Joe O'Connor. But having the vision to pick out, well, it wasn't hard to pick it out because Billy was right alongside him. Good shot nonetheless. Johnny Dooley. Next to Forage, back into midfield occasionally. Frankie Carroll now. Going for the point himself, wind assisted. But it carries to the right. Far too many misses really by Limerick. 8 so far against half that tally for Offaly. The green jersey on there, it's hard at times to remember which county he's coaching. While Eamon tends to move up along the sideline, Tom Ryan tends to sit in his seat and let the players get on with it. Johnny Dooley locating his brother Billy, returning the favour, but a difficult one because Joe O'Connor was in quickly. Joe from Ballybrown, Tom Ryan from Ballybrown as well. Dr. Dave Boylan just ahead of them there. Well, they'll be unhappy with the misses, no doubt about that. They lead by just a point, and they should be much further ahead, you feel. Declan Nash into the centre towards Mike Galligan. Partly blocked down by Brian Whelan. Nice skill, beautifully outside to Johnny Pilkington. Is this a point? It is! Pilkington's first. And the sides are level. So for the second time, teams level here in this All-Ireland hurling final. This is where Brian Whelan won a vital battle. Back there to Johnny Pilkington from a huge distance out, and a great score. Blocked down well there by Johnny Pilkington. And Houlihan in the centre there. Kevin Kinahan winning that clash there with Pat Heffernan. Now Damien Quigley. Turning well, an acute angle. It was acute, but he managed it. So a goal and a point now for Damien Quigley. And Limerick ahead once again. Well, it's becoming a seesaw battle here. He had to make a bit of an angle for himself. Beat Kevin Kinahan, the full back, and did really well. Dáithí Regan can't hold on to it. Flicked away by Ger Hegarty. Kevin Martin just nudged away sufficiently by Frankie Carroll. Then he got a block on it. Frankie ready to take the sideline cut. Eamon Cregan calling out the instructions to his Offaly charges. No man knows Limerick better, I suppose, than Eamon Cregan. Dave Clark. Towards Gary Kirby, caught it well, ahead of Hubert Rigney, and he's made the most of it. The umpires had a quick consultation. The man on the left said to the man on the right, put up the flag. Gary Kirby's third point. And the Limerick fans enjoying this so far, I'm sure, but just about 21, 22 minutes gone, as you can see. Hegarty, another fine catch. Limerick with three men there. Mike Houlihan, one of them. Cross towards Mike Galligan, who seems to have switched with TJ Ryan. Galligan now top of the right. Galligan left half forward. Kevin Kinahan back there, struggling to get it away from the attentions of Mike Galligan. And they'll test the inexperience of this full back. Nicely across by Kevin Martin to Brian Wheelahan. Joe Dooley prods it on. In there towards Declan Pilkington. Pilkington, the player involved in the penalty incident much earlier on in the game. Well, Offaly's defence still standing quite firm against the incessant Limerick pressure, but they need a bit more jizz, you feel, from midfield upwards. Dave Clark. Touchdown here towards Frankie Carroll. Towards Quigley. And again defended very well there by Shane McGuckin. McGuckin was the full-back on the championship team between 1991 and 1993. Today playing in his 7th championship game. Gary Kirby coming across. Player who first played in the championship against Waterford down in Semple Stadium in 1987. TJ Ryan feeding it back to him. Trying to make a better angle. Good block again by Brian Wheelahan. Johnny Pilkington trying to dominate at midfield. Johnny Dooley. And again it's Mike Houlihan settling in very well. Towards Gary Kirby. Frankie Carroll having some very good moments against Kevin Martin. This time blocked by Johnny Pilkington and whipped away by Daithí Regan. John Troy has it. Inside towards Brendan Kelly. The hand of Mike Nash just getting in the way. Stalemate momentarily. Declan Pilkington there with Steve McDonough, runs on towards Joe O'Connor. O'Connor defending against Billy Dooley. In there as well is Declan Pilkington, and that's going to be a free in. So a free for Offaly, who trail by just 2 points. Well, Johnny Dooley coming out here to take this free. Johnny without a score so far in this match, but he has certainly been one of the stars in the campaign to date. He's the one who took the penalty, of course, from which his brother Joe got the goal. And that's gone to the left and wide. Normally a very, very accurate shooter. Pressure is great this afternoon. Stakes are so high. Still just 22, not quite 23 years of age. And that's one that got away from him. I'm sure Eamon Krieger will have much to say when the half-time break comes in about 10 minutes' time. They certainly want to get them buzzing again. They've allowed Limerick to dominate. Damien Quigley, Gary Kirby on his knees. The 50-50 tussle results with Shane McGuckin having possession towards Brian Wheelahan. Tidy and such an efficient and good striker. Up towards Declan Pilkington, beaten by Dave Clark. Clark from Kilmallock in Limerick. Martin Hannamy trying to break it away. TJ Ryan snapping onto it quickly. Hasn't had too many chances so far, yet to score in this game. One of the newcomers to come into the championship scene at the outset of this championship at that match against Cork. Eamon Cregan just having a look around to see any possible switches that he might make, although by and large he's tended to keep with the balance of the team all through this championship. That runs on to Johnny Dooley, has support from Johnny Pilkington on his left-hand side, in towards Brendan Kelly, was slipping, and Mike Nash was out first time. He's playing well. Now having to get it away. Joe Dooley prodding it forward Intended for Declan Pilkington, comes up to Dave Clark instead. Clark racing away, avoiding the would-be hoop. On it goes towards Mike Houlihan, his clubmate. Takes it up, has support if he needs it. Fires it through the centre towards Frankie Carroll. Frankie against Kevin Martin. Game being played in a very good spirit so far, very sporting match. Pat Heffernan, taken by Kevin Kinahan. Towards Daithí Regan, breaking it down well for himself. Mike Houlihan just about keeping the ball in play, or did he? Not quite. It's going to be a line ball. Pat Heffernan, the Limerick full forward, is down there injured. And Dave Mahidi is in very quickly. Dave has done so well to train this team. And Dr. Dave Boylan in as well. It's a facial injury. There's the replay once again. Kevin Kinahan was defending his lines well. Pat Heffernan was in pursuit and he caught the stick quite accidentally. Nonetheless, felt the effects. And looks just a nasty little cut there, but it'll be tidied up. And I'm sure some people might wonder why players, not everybody, wears a helmet. Ger Hegarty breaking it down towards John Troy, bidding to dominate there at centre half forward. And even though he slipped, Declan Nash in a switch of position, still one possession. Pat Heffernan is still being attended to, so Limerick momentarily down to 14 players. Martin Hannamy also seemed to catch a knock that time, so both teams down to 14. And that's taken away well towards Mike Galligan. Galligan, who is such a star, went on his game. Jim Troy watching the whole time. Pat Heffernan back in the action. The sun in Jim's eyes didn't help, but he's getting support from Kevin Kinahan, whose jersey was pulled. And the referee says play on. Great relieving clearance by the fullback to Mike Galligan for Limerick. Limerick who lead by 1-6 to 1-4. Fired in again the sun troubling Jim Troy, does well. Experienced campaigner, back out to his team captain Martin Hannamy, back on his feet once again. Mike Houlihan spreading it wide to Kieran Carey. Lobbed in, oh, that's a goal! Damien Quigley's got a second. Nearly 29 minutes gone in the first half, and Limerick's second goal credited to Damien Quigley. Kieran Carey fired it in, but watch for the little flick. There it is, brilliant goal. So Damien Quigley, who's come in as one of those players that you expected a big performance from, and my goodness, he has delivered. One of the lesser known players, but my goodness, how he has served his county well there. That was a great goal. An Offaly player down injured in the half forward position. Can't see who it is from here. It's Joe Dooley. Joe, who played in the All-Ireland finals in 1984 and in 1985. Happily back on his feet again. He's already got a goal and a point in this match. Indeed, Offaly need a greater spread of scores from their forwards. Only two of their forwards have scored so far, Billy Dooley and Joe Dooley. Not that Limerick have been enjoying a much better spread, it has to be said. Gary Kirby and Damien Quigley, their only scorers in the forward line. And a substitution is being made. And Joe Erity, I think, is coming in. It looks like Joe Erity is coming in there. And Shane McGuckin is the player who's being replaced. And he's coming in to mark Damien Quigley, the player who's been doing the damage. Erity has been showing up very well in training. Let's have another look at this goal once more. See the positioning here of Damien Quigley as he followed it in. He was well outside the small rectangle, and a super finish. 5 minutes to half time. Dave Clark, shuffle of the shoulders just to throw the Offaly man off his scent. Ger Hegarty down again into that inside forward line. That's been causing many problems. Kevin Kinahan has lost the stick, kicking it away. Frankie Carroll in pursuit. Kevin Martin going across there as well. Cross towards Damien Quigley once again, looking for the hat-trick, of course, now. Well, Tom Ryan will have noted all the misses earlier on, but they've got those 2 precious goals and a lead of 5 points. So now really it's asking questions of Offaly, who are the overwhelming favourites coming into this match. Joe Dooley, stopped by Joe Quaid. Clearing his lines very quickly indeed. It's been the kind of match where you strike first and ask questions later on. Towards Quigley once again, the danger man. Getting away from Joe Erity, looking for the hat-trick, he misses. Gets the second shot in, however, but wide of the goal. Well, he really is causing so many headaches. Jim Troy making the clearance. Kieran Carey under it. Sensing that there may be a few more scores on just before half-time, and that's one of them. A second for Kieran Carey. Well, with the wind at their backs, they want to build up a substantial lead. Their lead is 6 points right now, but is it enough? Once again, Quigley was bearing down there on the goal of Jim Troy. That's where he missed, and then hooked his second shot wide of the goal. Well, much to the delight of Jim Troy. This great catch here by Kieran Carey. Great score. Here he is again. Very much the jewel in the crown. Back to TJ Ryan. Loves to roam, would like to score, but hasn't done just yet. Well, Limerick so far with, I make it 4 scorers against Offaly's 3. And in scoring chances, Limerick have created a whopping 24 chances so far, taking 9 of them. Offaly just 13 chances created, and they've taken just 5. Their goal and 4 points. Kieran Carey asking a lot of Mike Galligan to get across and get that one. He did well, and the linesman is flagging. It's going to be an Offaly ball. Martin Hannamy, the one who won the race. Well, Limerick are magic, the youngsters say, on the canal end. And the whole of the second half still to come to see if they can take the McCarthy Cup back for the 8th time to Shannon side. Eamon Cregan just checking the watch. I make it just, as you can see, over a minute to go. It's been a very open first half with very few frees as we watch Johnny Pilkington and Dave Mahidi get out of his way. But Offaly have been strangely listless in this first half. And they really will need to tear into Limerick in the second half if they're to take the cup back to the faithful county. Brian Wheelahan belting it forward. Joe Dooley. Just not happening for him. The hand bandage there, the legacy of a cycling accident a couple of weeks before this final. Brilliantly cut up by Dave Clark towards Mike Galligan, and to dance his way away from the challenges. The 2-man attack is in there, causing the problems. Quigley has it, and that's fired over the bar. 2 goals and 2 points for Damien Quigley from the Piershigs in Limerick. What a match he's playing. His first goal after 5 minutes, his second after 29, and now on the call of half-time he's got another score, a point. This, once again, that last attack. Must be very close to half-time now. Damien Quigley, by the way, is now being marked by Martin Hannamy in a switch at corner back, with Joe Erity moving across to the other corner. John Troy and the referee in there, pointing the way. Free to Offaly. Ger Hegarty's side leading by double scores. And Jerry Lang prostrate. Player has given some great service to Limerick down the years. Won the minor All-Ireland, of course, in '84 and the under-21 in '87, and hoping that this will be the day to complete that great set of medals. Johnny Dooley the taker, and that's a point. A first score for Johnny Dooley, the Sarah Kieran's player. So just 6 between them. Sun into the eyes of the Offaly backs. Gary Kirby taking it well. Great style, but has he got the accuracy? Not quite. Gary with 3 points so far, 2 of them from play.